Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Fabulous.
My clap was a little weak today. It's like, it is a line, but it does not go to the top. So, sorry.
Well, you're still recovering from your illness.
Yeah. Surprise, everyone. We're back after a long hiatus. Hi, this is the podcast. Oh, wait, no, I have already forgotten how to do our introduction. No, that's not true. But yeah, I have been sick. Call it sick brain. Y'all, I got mono as a 30-year-old. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, here we are.
Mono is a young man's game.
Yeah, but I'm not out there kissing people, just one person. So it's like, what's going on?
And he don't have mono.
No, not so far.
Which is wild.
So, yeah, thanks everybody for your patience. We had a little bit of mono. We had a little bit of birthday. Welcome to 30, flirty and thriving.
It's been I feel good. I feel mature. I feel respectable.
Yeah. Dignified.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I've just been waiting for someone to accuse me of being a 20-something so I can look at them and be like, no, I'm a distinguished 30-year-old.
And then, like, evaporate into smoke.
Yes. Oh my God. Or more accurately, have one of those little, like, smoke pellets that you throw down. You can see me running away across the street.
Perfect.
Which... I had a vampire-themed birthday party.
Oh my God, tell us about it. I wish I could have been there.
We were feeling your presence in our hearts, but like I said, I wanted you to remain in Portland to restore yourself to your full queenly powers.
My full potential.
Your full potential. No, it was themed as a vampire salon, so I had everyone bring some sort of art piece or presentation or performance, and it was really fun. We had Nick played the What We Do in the Shadows theme on his ukulele.
Love that.
Jackie, one of my friends from my teenhood, did a presentation about vampire fan language. You know, the language of the fan. It's
for vampires?
But for vampires, yeah. And there were some fun ones. Like if you wipe the fan on your face and then bite it, you're like looking for some blood, but it doesn't have to be virgin. You know, you're out and ready for biting.
Sure, you have medium standards as a vampire.
And then waving the fan like over your head, kind of like a madman, says, I'll take any blood right now.
Oh, wow.
Like, all blood is good blood. I'm looking to nom down hard.
Jesus.
Yeah, and our friend Darren, friend of the pod Darren, made a beautiful pie. There were so many wonderful vampire presentations.
Oh man, I probably would have been weird and done like a talking about vampires that are buried with like rocks in their mouths or like stakes through their heart kind of shit.
I honestly thought about making my friends sit through like a 45-minute presentation of all of my vampire knowledge I've done for this show accumulated.
Oh yeah,
because there's quite a lot of it.
Some time.
Oh yeah. You bitches talked about vampires 1 or 2 times.
Yeah, we love them here,
and there's still stuff to talk about. But then we went to brunch the next day, and so it was a vampire weekend.
Oh, but not like the band.
Yes, like the band, no, like the band.
Oh.
It's a fun pun.
It is fun. Happy birthday. Wish I could have been there.
Oh, me too. I'm sorry you got mono.
Yeah, me fucking too. Anyway, should we start the show?
I think it's about that time, old chap.
In olden days, a glimpse of femur was only for morbid dreamers, but you're not alone for anything wrong.
Bone-anza.
Thank you. Bone-anza. Thank you.
Bone-anza.
Count it. Bone-anza. Thank you. We're having a bonanza.
Bone-anza.
Thank you. Thank you. Count it. Count it.
Bone-anza. Bone-anza.
Bonanza. Bonanza.
Hello and welcome to Anything Bones. I'm Sophie Sarcophagus Schwartz.
And I'm Katelyn. Look at these crimes. Heart. And this is the podcast where we talk about bones, bone-related topics, and for me, it's crime.
And for me, it's archaeology and history.
And for us, it's a Bone-anza.
Hello, Bone-anza.
Well, so it's been a minute since we did our last Bone-anza.
Yeah.
We've had a small reprieve, and we've done something like this similar before, but so we're doing newer discoveries that are as of 2023. Hot off the presses, some might say.
Yes, some of the newest bone finds. Mine are within the last 2-3 years, so super fresh bones.
Yeah.
I mean, these bones are old, but fresh to us, these bones.
Yeah.
Like when you get a hand-me-down, it's new to you.
Yeah, they're found again.
Born again bones.
Oh my God. Well, I'll kick things off. It's been quite a time for true crime lately, let me tell you.
Oh, really?
I had a lot to choose from. So, for example, I, like many people, spiraled on the Alex Murdaugh case. The trial was this year.
Oh my goodness, yes.
That guy is a nightmare. Didn't feel like a Bone-anza that I could do in 15 minutes. So
you don't think you could do a rundown of the complex crimes and trial and the whole thing in 50 minutes?
No, I think I'm going to skip that one.
Okie doke.
There are a lot of good documentaries about that out there anyway. So I watched the Murdaugh Mysteries, I think it is, on Netflix. That was really good.
We'll cover it sometime if you want to.
I just might, I thought about covering the Lori Vallow trial, which is the mother of the two kids that she wouldn't the kids were missing and she wouldn't tell anybody where they were. And then they found their remains at her house with her now husband, who is this religious culty guy. I don't know. It's just, she just got found guilty of her children's murders. So that it's been quite a time.
Oh my goodness.
But I decided to skip that one as well because that one, I mean, these are all sad, the things I'm going to talk about, but that one just, there's a documentary about that one on Netflix too, and one of the interviews is with the older brother of the kids that got murdered, and his story has just stuck with me because it's just so sad. He's I should have seen this come. He has all this guilt for what happened, and it's it was your mom, you
I don't know how
and,
he could have prevented that.
Yeah, you're an adult, you got your own life, you're supposed to move out of the house when you know,
but
grow
it's
up, and it's just
that grief has to be so big.
It's just his story is just gut-wrenching. These stories I'm going to tell today are also pretty bad, but we've got some justice coming our way. So first thing I'm going to talk about is the Gilgo Beach / Long Island serial killer. Sources for this were 2 articles from The Independent and 1 article from Rolling Stone, of all places.
Okay, Rolling Stone.
Yeah. So, for more than a decade, the murders at Gilgo Beach have been a complete mystery to the law enforcement officials in Suffolk County, which is in Long Island. So, since 2010, this has been going on, where investigators keep finding bodies of sex workers buried at Gilgo Beach in Long Island. Yes, this is one of those stories, unfortunately.
Can we leave sex workers alone for half a second?
For God's sake, yeah. I mean, it's already hard enough. And then, I just... And you have to wonder if the fact that they were sex workers is part of why it took so long to solve this. But it also seems like police, really did want to solve it. Because down the line, we're going to find out that they start a task force for this. So it's I don't know. I think maybe at the time, maybe there wasn't a lot of movement in this case. And then recently it has gotten a lot of movement and it's led to an arrest. So this case begins in May 2010 with this 24-year-old sex worker named Shannon Gilbert, who vanishes after leaving a client's home near Gilgo Beach, where all of the bodies are buried. There is a 911 call that she made saying that she feared for her life and that someone was after her, and she was never seen again. When they're searching for her in the like woods and thicket area close to the beach, they just keep finding bodies and bodies and more bodies.
Oh, God.
Yeah, horrific. Within days, they found 3 more victims close to the first body that they found. And by the end of spring in 2011, they have like excavated the whole area and they found 10 total victims, 8 women, 1 man, and a toddler.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
It's just horrific.
Unfortunately, Shannon Gilbert's body was one of the victims that was found at the beach. The first of the victims that they found was Melissa Bartholomew. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Her remains were found in December 2010 during the search. And then the other victims that were found in the next couple of days after that were identified as Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, and Amber Lynn Costello. And all 3 of them were known to advertise sex work on Craigslist. As the years have gone on, these 4 women have been dubbed the Gilgo 4 because they are all identified and they're all in the same line of work, so their murders have been linked. They've also identified the remains of Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack, and as recently as August, so this month,
wow.
They identified a victim, Karen Vergata, who was last seen in 1996. So other than that, the other victims have not been identified, so including the John Doe and the toddler, who I think one of my sources said that the toddler was genetically linked to one of the unidentified victims. So it's just like
that's horrible.
Parent and a child, that are gone, and I guess nobody reported them missing or the DNA is too degraded. I'm not sure. So this is where the case sat for years. So since about 2010 when they started finding victims. Last year, 2022, there is a task force that is formed between the Suffolk County Police Department, New York State Police, Suffolk County Sheriff's Office, and the FBI. And lo and behold, in July of this year, so last month for us, they arrested a guy named Rex Heuermann for the murders of the Gilgo 4. And I should clarify, he has been charged with the murder of Megan Waterman, Melissa Bartholomew, and Amber Costello, and he's a prime suspect in the murder of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. So basically, they're charging him with 3 murders, but they're pretty sure he did at least 4 of them.
Wow.
He is a 59-year-old married father of 2.
Double life.
He's an architect and a business owner in Manhattan, and he's native to Long Island. So I'm going to tell you about him and how he was caught.
Please.
Because this shit just happened.
Wow.
Bone-anza. So there was a witness to Amy Costello's last known sighting. She was seen with a client who had a vehicle that was witnessed at that time. That was a weird way of saying it. But basically her pimp, which I don't like that word, but I don't know what other word to use actually.
Yeah.
He was the witness, and he told police, sounds like back in the day, but he also talked to the task force in 2022 and said that the client that was with Mrs. Costello was driving a green Chevrolet Avalanche, which is like, I guess maybe an older car or like kind of a unique car. And he was able to give a description of the man that was driving him. And he described him as looking like an ogre, by the way.
Oh, wow. That's scary.
And yeah, so I guess this part is a little bit unclear to me. Like, I would think that a lot of people had cars like that, but one way or the other, they are able to find in March 2022 through searching through registrations that this guy, Rex Heuermann, had a first generation green Chevrolet Avalanche at the time of Amy Costello's disappearance. And he also looks like an ogre.
Those are the scientific terms.
So the fact that this witness described this car, was able to describe Rex, leads investigators like basically to execute 300 subpoenas, search warrants,
oh my God,
other legal stuff to get evidence against him for the serial killer, for being a serial killer. Excuse me.
For being a serial killer, yeah.
Yeah, for murder. So one of the things that they were able to find against him was that he used a lot of burner phones, which are things that the 3 women that he's being charged with murdering use to contact clients as well. Like there are records of them calling burner phones and being called by burner phones. And wouldn't you know it, those burner phones always pinged off the same towers as Rex's actual phone. So at no point were those pings different.
Well, you can burn the phone, but you can't burn the cell tower.
Not really. Also, when the phones were used, they were pinged off of cell towers most of the time in very specific locations close to his office and close to his home. Even more more disturbing than all of this, he took at least 2 of the victims' cell phones after their murders, and in one case he called the family multiple times, taunting them about what he had done. Yeah.
This guy's a sick person.
Sick fuck. And then one of the other phones that he got, he used it to check her voicemail.
Wow.
Probably seeing if people were looking for her. Just a guess. And just to make this guy even more depraved, he had a bunch of Tinder profiles and email accounts under a series of fake names, and he did use those accounts to search for graphic child porn.
Oh, God.
So, so he's going away for a long time, most likely.
Everybody be so careful on the dating apps, please.
Yeah, we've had good experiences.
Yeah.
A bunch of bad experiences. Up until good experiences. And I feel very lucky, very grateful that I do not have to go on those apps anymore, because, to think, 93% of the people on those apps are like perfectly fine human beings who are like shitty, but not dangerous. Right.
But like,
he is most definitely dangerous.
Yeah.
So
a predator, literally.
Yeah, 100%. He also, they have evidence of him looking up images of his murder victims, their relatives. He listened to podcasts about these cases, documentaries, and followed the news stories about it. This is crazy. Some of his searches include, why could law enforcement not trace the calls made by the Long Island serial killer? Another one, quote, why hasn't the Long Island serial killer been caught?
He should have looked up, is there a statute of limitations on murder? And it would have said, there is not.
No, there isn't.
You can still be caught. You are creating evidence against you currently.
Right. So the evidence just keeps piling up, but a big one, huge one, within the last year, this task force has found hair belonging to Rex Heuermann's wife on 3 of the 4 victims. Now, they don't think that she was involved in the killing.
Okay.
She is out of town at the time of 3 of the murders, but they allege that, like, the hair, because they live together, obviously your hair gets everywhere, so it could have been transferred. They also, just to add insult to injury, they find Rex's DNA, in fact, on one of the victims, and they got his DNA to compare it to by grabbing a pizza box that he threw away out of the garbage can and swabbing the pizza crusts.
Classic. This is what happens when you don't eat the crust, folks.
Yeah, eat all your pizza from now on, everybody. So I guess I should say allegedly on all this, because, he hasn't been found guilty yet. But come at me. He did it.
Caitlin!
If he wants to sue, why would he sue me when he could sue Rolling Stone and The Independent,
I mean, we'd still be on the list, Caitlin.
Okay, you're right. Anyway, so the defendant, who is, should be, what is the word? Proven innocent until found guilty? No. He's innocent until he's
proven guilty.
There we go. Let me take that again.
Sorry, I'm just taking pictures of Minnie. She's so cute.
It's so good. She's so cute. I love this. I like that she immediately calmed down when I started to podcast and just wants to be in the Zoom call.
Mm-hmm. She's a good little companion.
Yeah. All right, just to wrap up. So the defendant, who is innocent until proven guilty, right?
Not
Right?
according to you.
Okay. He has pleaded not guilty. There was mention of a court date in early August, but I can't tell if that's happened or not. So this is still a breaking news story. But yeah, that's what we have so far on the Gilgo Beach / Long Island serial killer.
Wow, that's amazing. I always really enjoy hearing these cases that are cold cases for a long time making progress, because it's like, you think that there's no hope, but hey ho, technology strikes.
Yeah, and to their credit, this task force with all these different law enforcement agencies, like, they solved it. Better late than never on some of these things, I guess. But yeah, I do have to wonder if the fact that these victims were sex workers was part of the reason why it took so long. But I am glad that it was finally solved.
Yeah, as am I. Wow, that was...
Although not all the way solved. There's still unidentified people on the beach. So yeah, this is very much ongoing. But we're pretty sure we know at least one of the serial killers that was lurking around Long Island.
Good to catch one. Scary if there's more.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad they're putting these technologies to use and, bring these people who, a guy who thought he was so safe.
Yeah.
To justice.
He's like, why have they never caught me?
'Cause they're just waiting for you to out yourself, bud.
Yeah, exactly. They were just biding their time, and he did. So it can happen.
It can happen. Well, that was an amazing breaking bones, breaking news bonanza topic.
Thank you very much. I think you're going to take it in an entirely different direction, and I'm excited.
I am. As I hinted, I also went back to my roots of things that I really enjoy talking about. Because like updates in true crime, there have been a lot of things found in archaeology, a lot to choose from.
A lot.
We could do this a couple times over. Mm-hmm. In fact, we should.
We could do a whole podcast about this.
I mean, bonus content, if you want it, message us on Instagram. I would like to intro my thing by saying I'm going to talk about 2 Egyptology topics.
Cool.
Because I'm coming back to my roots. I love talking about Egypt. I love talking about their funerary practices, ancient Egypt. And when I was looking around online for topics, I found that you can take a virtual tour of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Like the big one.
Shit.
Yeah. And I got a little ways in because I was excited. And I was like, oh my God, I could go to the Great Pyramids right here in my bed. Like, it was insane. I started going into the different chambers and I was like, stop, wait. You can't do this alone. You must experience this with Katelyn. So I'm holding off on that, and I would love to do a Great Pyramid of Giza tour with you at some point for bonus content.
Please. We could do a listen along.
Yeah. Be like,
that'd
you
be fun.
too can fucking get in this pyramid, please. And there's a little spot to donate to the site that does the virtual tours. They are called Giza.mused. It's basically a digital tour, like virtual tour of the pyramid. And they even take you some places that you don't get to go if you were there IRL.
God. Yeah, we have to do this.
Yeah. But that is not exactly what I'm talking about today. I just got so excited about
please.
Almost going to the Great Pyramid without you, but I didn't.
That's so kind to think of me.
I'm always thinking of you when bones are involved.
Yeah, we got to do it together.
Mm-hmm. So I want to talk to you about some mummies that were discovered with golden tongues.
Oh, that sounds spooky scary.
I mean,
or is it a great awesome burial rite? I can't wait to find out.
It's always a toss-up when I'm talking. So my sources for this were sciencealert.com and livescience.com.
Okay.
Just good old down-home science. sense. Alert and live. So these discoveries are kind of ongoing, starting in the 2010s, but making really great strides in like 2021 and recently.
Okay, cool.
So also fresh, but not as fresh as your breaking bone news.
It's fine. It's fine. Mine was, they knew about him since, earlier on in the investigation, I think. So
We just need that confirmation.
Yeah.
So archaeologists have discovered a few mummies in Egypt that have golden tongues.
Yeah.
Tongues made of gold. To say it another way.
Tongues with gold, a gold dress.
A gold dress?
I don't know. A golden sheath. That sounds bad.
No, the tongues are actually entirely made of gold. It's not the person's tongue coated in gold. The tongues are made of gold. That's a great question.
Okay, wow.
They're not
So
gilded, they are gold.
Okay, so you could take that gold tongue out of the mummy if you wanted.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
You shouldn't.
Let me be clear.
For some of these, someone already has.
Okay, yeah.
You would not be the first. These mummies were discovered in the ancient cemetery near Quesna, which is a city that's about 35 miles north of Cairo. And this site was originally discovered in 1989, and it's thought to have been occupied both during the Ptolemaic period and the Roman periods, which would have been about 300 BCE to about 640 CE. So for a good while.
Yeah. And a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Not yesterday. So these mummies with the gold tongues are actually from various different bodies that are possibly from different time periods in Egypt, which is interesting to consider.
Huh.
Yeah, because you're like, was this something just done in one period of time? But actually, we have some variety, yeah.
Huh, that's interesting. Yeah, like, and what sets these guys apart from the rest?
Yes, that is, you're thinking like an archaeologist. Why these mummies?
Yes.
And why the tongues? Because some other skeletons in similar areas have some bones that are coated in gold. And there are some others who have like golden objects with them, like scarab beetles and lotus flowers. They also found a lot of other grave goods, of course. We love the grave goods. Got to hear about those. We've, of course, got some beautiful necklaces, pottery, and more gold artifacts. And what's interesting about some of these mummies is that they were buried in wooden coffins as opposed to like stone, like we see for a lot of sarcophaguses. So that could be an indication of status.
Yeah, would a wood coffin, that would be less important, I would think, than somebody in a stone sarcophagus.
I would agree with that from other things that we've heard about.
Yeah.
Burial rites in ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt is not the only, this iteration of gold tongues is not the only ones that we have found.
What?
We have found this before. They were actually a part of Greco-Roman funerary practices, and sometimes there were gilded eyes placed upon the mummies as well. So it's interesting to think, are these gold tongue mummies that we just discovered part of that tradition, or are they something different?
Yeah, that's what? Like, I want to know. I want to know more.
You know, we're still actually figuring this one out because there are some theories about what this gold tongue might do.
What that tongue do.
That tongue do. So it's possible the addition of these gold tongues and gold eyes are a way for people to transform or become closer to divine beings in the afterlife. Part of ancient Egyptian belief was that the gods themselves were not made of like flesh and person meat, but gold.
Oh, that'd be scary.
I mean, it would.
And heavy.
Yes. But it's thought that putting these gold tongues in people's mouths could possibly be a way for them to communicate with the gods in the afterlife.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. And there's kind of a story about Osiris, who lived among the dead, but he was not a big fan of talking. He didn't like the sounds of people's voices. He didn't like noise. He was often referred to actually as the Lord of Silence, and the afterlife, the land of the dead, as the land of silence. He was so abject to noise.
Okay, like, we've all been there. I've come home and been like, I want to sit in silence, but not every day, my guy.
Well, it's possible that these gold tongues... Well, it's possible that these gold tongues allowed the dead to speak with Osiris without bugging him.
Okay.
And it's also possible that it has a connection to silence within the funerary culture of ancient Egypt, because it's been recorded that through the funerary arrangements, people were supposed to be very quiet. And it was only when the mouth of the mummy was open when they were preparing it that they would like play music. So I thought that was a very interesting connection.
Yeah, that's weird. My first thought when I heard this was like, oh, they have a gold tongue because they were like a great public speaker, or like, I don't know, they were a preacher, or so, you know, somebody that like was a voice of a leader among people, like using their words. I don't know.
Yes, because if...
Or
the gold tongue was so important to communicate with the dead or to communicate in the land of the dead, why don't we see gold tongues on all mummies from this period?
Right, yeah. Like, that's why I feel like it's something with, like, who they were in life. I don't know.
It's very possible. We're still getting more info on these mummies. But like I said, gold tongue mummies have been found in a few places along the Mediterranean coast and also in burial sites south of Cairo as well. So it's a phenomenon that we're still learning about, but we seem to have plenty of mummies to learn from.
Yeah. I hope they figure this shit out and let me know.
Yeah. Would you like to take a look at one of the tongues, some of the tongues real quick?
Yes, please.
Here are some pictures of some tongues that were actually extracted from the mummies. As you said, take them out.
Yeah.
And here is one actually inside the mouth of a deceased person.
Oh, wow. Huh.
And
that's wild.
The skeleton that has the gold tongue in their mouth, I believe, was found in 2021.
Hell yeah. That's breaking news. In this economy?
For archaeology, it's breaking news. We got a lot of, within the span of time.
Yeah, and breaking news in archaeology is like anything in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
All right, well, while we all ponder the last 100 years, please listen to a Podmoth original podcast ad and enjoy, and we'll BRB.
Remember Prohibition? It was within the last 100 years.
Oh, yeah.
Hey there, my name is Bree.
And I'm Suze.
We're the hosts of Crime and Spirits, a true crime and cocktail podcast. Do you love spooky stories and all things true crime?
How about themed cocktails? Do you love those too?
Well, that's perfect, because so do we.
Yeah, in fact, we love them so much, we made an entire podcast all about it.
Every week, we bring you a new episode that covers a different case or topic of interest, but first, we'll need drinks.
Don't you worry, we've got you covered there. Every week, we'll teach you how to make a handcrafted cocktail that ties into the theme or topic in some way.
So you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and pretty much every other platform available.
New episodes roll out every Sunday.
So buckle up
and sip tight.
We can't wait to talk some true crime with you. Bye!
Well, now that we have pondered every single one of the last 100 years, which my brain is itching.
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah. Do you care to talk about just a little something of those last 100 years?
Yeah. Well, we'll jump right back to me. My name is Katelyn, and I talk about crime a lot. So for this one, my sources were CNN.com, The Independent, And there was another one that I didn't write down. Hold on. It was NBC Chicago.
Nice.
So I am going to be talking about the Delphi murders today, which these are pretty famous murders that took place in 2017. The victims were teenagers, unfortunately, so this is a really hard one. So their names were Libby German and Abby Williams. So it's February 13th, 2017. They have a day off from school, and so they go on a hike on the Monon High Bridge Trail, which is in Delphi, Indiana, so hence the Delphi murders. They go missing and they don't meet up with one of their dads who's supposed to pick them up after the hike. So the police are called, and unfortunately the next day, about a half a mile from where the trail was, their bodies were discovered.
Oh, God.
Not a lot of details have been known about this case for a lot of years, and nobody really knows why. For years, we really didn't know how they died or very much information at all, which it's usual for the police to hold back some evidence, so that they can parse out who is the killer and knows that information, and versus somebody who's bullshitting, because people do that, which is just so sick and twisted to me. Anyway,
I mean, it's true.
It's strange that we never, up until in the last year, we didn't learn how they died.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird. What we did know, and what this case is really known for, one of the girls, Abby, posted a Snapchat picture of the girls crossing this railroad bridge right before they were killed. And with that Snapchat, there are other photos, and they have this really blurry, grainy photo of this guy that was walking towards
this.
Yep. This guy that's walking towards them. He's in a blue jacket and jeans and walking towards them on the bridge. So they think that he had something to do with it. They also, right after the murders happened, they release a recording that's most likely from a Snapchat video. And it's this guy saying what sounds like, "Guys down the hill."
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Did you talk about this?
No, I've never talked about it on the show, but it's a pretty famous case.
I remember this so vividly. This case is so chilling.
Yeah, really creepy. And what really stuck with me is that's all we had for so many years, was this grainy picture of somebody who was maybe involved or maybe was just on the trail that day.
Yeah.
And there was this sense that okay, if they have a Snapchat video, they must have more than just that little clip. You would think. So it was always
Maybe.
what is being hidden and what is being released, and was so mysterious because we didn't know how they were actually killed. So this is a really hard case, especially because of the age of the victims. They were teenagers, 13 and 14. In October 2022, so the murder was committed in 2017. 2022 October, we had an arrest in this case.
Okay.
This case that's been so mysterious for so long. This guy's name is Richard Allen. He is 50 years old. He's a Delphi local, and he was taken into custody on the 26th of October, 2022. Indiana State Police announced that he was charged with 2 counts of murder, so one for Libby and one for Abby. And he pled not guilty, just so you know.
Well, as it's his right to do that, but...
Of course. So, who is this motherfucker?
I would like to know.
Yes. Richard, this guy Richard, he, like I said, he is local to Delphi. He lives less than 5 minutes away from where the girls' bodies were found. He has a wife named Kathy, had or has, I'm not sure, and they have an adult daughter. Yeah. Imagine being related to one of these guys. Fuck. I don't know what I would do. So he was a pharmacy technician, and at the time of his arrest was working at a CVS.
Oh.
With contact with the public. So creepy as fuck.
I always regard the people at CVS as very trustful. Now I won't.
I am sorry to ruin that for you.
I don't know why people who work at the pharmacy seem trustful to me.
Well, they should be, and I'm sure 90% of them are. Okay, 99. Fuck it. in the midst of all this that's been happening, they found a picture of this guy, Richard Allen, a selfie that he took with his wife. And you can see a police sketch of the suspect in Libby and Abby's murder in the background. Like he was like trying to be funny.
Some of these
Coincidence?
people are
No.
unbelievable. Yeah.
No.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So this all has kind of been started happening in 2022. They've known about him from the beginning. He told police that he was on the trail that day. They just, for one reason or another, it took this long for them to like arrest him, which is pretty unsettling.
Yeah, it is.
Especially because this case is already so mysterious that it's hard to know.
Well, I'd love to know what hindered them from doing so.
Yeah, and we still don't know, unfortunately.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but we did learn a lot more when a bunch of documents were released in mid-June of this year, 2023. And the biggest bombshell from like over 100 documents that were released, this motherfucker, Richard Allen, was recorded confessing to the murders in a phone call to his wife.
Oh my God.
Yes. This case has been like, so like you didn't maybe know it when I said the Delphi murders, but as I started talking about it, did you kind of know what it was?
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like this case is something that a lot of people know about, but then you don't know all the details because it's been so mysterious for so many years.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker's been living his life the whole time.
When did
And
he
then-
confess to his wife?
This was on April 3rd of this year. Yup. Quote, on April 3rd, 2023, Richard M. Allen made a phone call to his wife, Kathy Allen. In that phone call, Richard M. Allen, this is a court document, admits several times that he killed Abby and Libby. Investigators had the phone call transcribed, and the transcription confirms that Richard M. Allen admits that he committed the murders of Abigail Williams and Libby German. And the records also indicate that his wife very abruptly ended this phone call.
Yeah.
She's like,
what did he
they're
even
recording
say?
you. I don't know the like direct quote, but it might be in the court documents. But
I just can't even imagine what you even say on that phone call.
Another one of my sources said that he confessed to his mother too. He's like confessed multiple times.
Jesus.
But we're gonna get into that in just a little bit.
Did these people turn him in?
We're gonna get into how he gets caught in just a second.
Okay.
He wasn't turned in, I don't believe.
I am. Ugh. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
If anyone in my life told me that they murdered two teenage girls, I mean anyone, I would be like,
We're done. We're done.
We're done.
Well, it's unclear if the confessions were made like from prison or before.
Okay.
So we can't necessarily blame them for if they didn't hear it before he went to prison.
If
but
he's
maybe
already
now
in prison,
maybe
but like
he's thinking there's nothing left to lose, or we're gonna get into it in a sec. There might be some mental health issues going on too. Oh yeah, I'm ready for it right now. So the defense attorneys allege in the court documents that were released that after the phone call, so on April 3rd, they visited him in jail the next day, and he seemed to be suffering from various psychotic symptoms that they described as schizophrenic and delusional. They think he's also suffering from memory loss, but they have everything to gain if he's mentally ill and suffering from memory loss. So they're trying to win their case. So I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know what I believe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Another thing that was released, these new documents, the girls were probably killed with both a gun and a knife.
God.
And then there were some clothing items that were missing, including some underwear and socks. Like I sort of alluded to earlier, Allen was connected to the crime scene because in 2017, he told officers that he had been on the trail on the same day. And then eventually, I'm not exactly sure when this happened, but eventually they match a unspent bullet that they find at the crime scene that is matched to his gun, Richard Allen's gun. And he's like, oh, I don't know how that got there, that bullet that's from my gun.
I'm sure you don't.
So, yeah, it's a little messy. There's no DNA evidence at this point that I could find, but like this is very much ongoing. His trial is going to be in January of next year, so we'll see more when that comes about. Interestingly, since this like April 3rd call with his wife, he supposedly, this guy Richard, broke a tablet that he was using to like communicate with people and hasn't really talked to anybody since. So we don't really know what's going on with him. There was a court hearing in June where
Can I pause you
prosecutor...
for... Sorry, can I pause you for just 1 second?
Yeah.
Is Minnie playing with something, or...
Yeah, she is. Baby, you being stupid. Hi, everyone. We're back. My cat is feisty today. Okay. So there was a court hearing earlier in June where prosecutors and defense attorneys have both like admitted that this guy, Richard Allen, has made a lot of, quote, incriminating admissions about the murders in the 7 months since his arrest. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
And like I kind of said, the defense attorneys argue that his confessions cannot be trusted due to his current mental state. They're actually trying to get him moved to a different jail, thinking that that will help him, I guess. I'm not really sure about that. But like I said, his trial is in January of 2024, or at least that's what it's scheduled for. So
wow.
This is all alleged for now. This was a very cursory view of the Delphi murders. There are some other suspects that have like come and gone throughout the years, but this is the only person that they've ever arrested for it. So this is going to be an interesting thing to see how it plays out.
Yeah, that's significant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when this was all going down originally. When you were saying you probably didn't know it by name, but you know the details. Absolutely. As soon as you started talking about it, I was like, fuck, I remember these Snapchats.
Yeah, we probably saw or heard like I know I heard a Crime Junkie episode about this one, and maybe like a My Favorite Murder, you know, back in the day when we listened to that. So
yeah, I don't do you even listen to My Favorite Murder anymore?
No, I don't. Not
Neither
at all.
do I. Anyway, yeah, but you know, that was the era of My Favorite Murder, 2017-ish. So it's a very hot time for true crime and problematic representations of true crime.
Yeah. But I'm really hopeful that this is going to, you know, bring some resolution to their families. These poor families of these girls have been through so much in the last 5 years, almost 6 years. So hopefully soon this can be resolved at the trial.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Mm-hmm. Bone-anza.
I know.
This is why I'm not going last, because it's such a downer.
Well, let's take the strongest upper in the world. Knowledge.
Okay.
For me specifically, knowledge about ancient Egypt.
Okay.
Because we're going to be talking about an extremely important discovery of an entirely new queen to the ancient Egypt timeline.
Oh, damn. Like, they completely didn't know who she was until now.
They did not.
Damn. Okay.
They were like, this bitch is new and she is important. So before we get into it, the sources I have are All Things Interesting, CBS, and CBS News. So let us get into it. Saqqara. We've talked about it many times before. It is the necropolis south of Cairo that is the gift that keeps on giving.
I want to go to there.
I want to go to there too, so badly. I would love to be there for months and just take it all the fuck in, because they are discovering things on the daily there.
Crazy.
Like that's why ancient Egypt is such a gimme for these kind of things, is because they are always unearthing interesting shit. And like, this is the thing that is like difficult, is that I wish there was more coverage for archaeology in less popular places, or where the interest is less westernized. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
But like, I just wanted to let you guys know that there are amazing archaeological finds all over the world. I just went for Egypt this time, but I want to make sure that we're hitting all over the world, because all archaeology is interesting archaeology to moi.
Mm-hmm.
So, Saqqara, like we have said, this site has yielded thousands of artifacts over the decades that people have been excavating there. It's a hotbed of tombs and knowledge about ancient Egypt. And archaeologists in Saqqara, they discovered a large group of coffins and sarcophagi that may have belonged to King Tut's closest generals and advisors during his reign.
Okay, shit.
Yeah.
Pretty important.
Pretty important. And so that led them to kind of start focusing their attention on a nearby pyramid that belonged to a pharaoh named Teti, Teti. And he was the first king of the 6th dynasty of Egypt. And so they were like, everyone loved this guy. He was treated as a god in his time. And so, like, a lot of people, important people, would have wanted to be buried near him.
Sure.
Yeah, we've covered this before, that to be buried near someone in ancient Egypt was like prime for afterlife prosperity.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so as they started to dig by this pyramid, they realized, they were like, usually in Saqqara, we get a lot of Old Kingdom or late period burials, but they started to dig up to 52 burial shafts. 22 of them are interconnected. And these are all between 30 and 60 feet. And these are all underground. And these are all from the New Kingdom.
Okay, like, I always am fascinated by, like, how do they know that? Are they, like, carbon dating things? Or they just, like, can tell by the wear and tear? Archaeology's so cool.
I mean, they can probably tell by more scientific means like carbon dating, but they also probably know by art styles. They probably also know by writing styles, you know, by what materials were available, building styles.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like when you recognize, like, you know, how old a house is, you know?
Sure.
God, I wish I had done archaeology school.
It's never too late.
That's true. It's never too late for now. So within these burial shafts, they found a huge limestone sarcophagus, which is always fun.
Oh, yeah, we stand.
And about 300 coffins from the New Kingdom period. So, like, mummy gold we have struck.
Yeah.
Eureka, as the kids say. And these coffins are amazing. They each have individual faces painted on them. And you can really see them. You can see, like, the difference between the people. And they're all decorated with scenes from the Book of the Dead. And they also have the name of the person on there.
Oh, that's convenient.
I know. I was like, hell yeah, thank you for labeling.
That's so nice of you.
And organized. And they also had depictions of the 4 sons of Horus who protect the organs of the deceased. So,
okay. Yeah, very important.
So they were like, okay, these coffins are amazing. Why don't we just take a peek inside? And they did. And these mummies are incredibly well preserved.
Hell yeah. We love to see it.
We love to see that. And it's funny because one of the archaeologists that I was talking about was like, yeah, this is just like a testament to like the peak of embalming, which was like the New Kingdom era.
Hell yeah.
There were a lot of fun artifacts inside of the burial shafts, of course. We love grave goods.
Yeah.
We have some board games. We have some statues of gods. Yeah.
I didn't know.
They were having fun down there.
I didn't know there were board games in ancient Egypt. That's fun.
Oh, yeah. It's called Senate.
Sure.
And I had this book about ancient Egypt that taught you how to play it, but I don't remember much about it.
That's fine.
But they also found some weapons, such as a metal axe that was still in the hand of a soldier.
Ooh, Jesus.
But the most exciting thing, of course, was finding the tomb of Queen Neith, Neith. And what's interesting about her is that they had no idea that she existed.
That's wild. There's like no record of her.
No, they actually started like excavating around in this area in 2010, and they discovered a pyramid that was near the pyramid of King Teti. And they were like, whose pyramid is this? Like,
how do you discover a pyramid? What in the fuck? Like, was it below the ground at that point? Like, damn.
I think so, or dismantled in some way where
just
like there was a lot of like Saqqara was like grave robbed to hell in many ways. So there's stuff that might be damaged, but they were trying to figure out whose pyramid this was. And finally, during these excavations I'm talking about now, they ended up finding her name inside of a temple that they excavated and on an obelisk that was just outside her tomb. So finally, we know her name. And I just laughed to myself because there's been so many times that we've been talking about women in history and some crucial part of their history is missing just because it wasn't recorded.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just wrote, finding out about some ancient women is like pulling teeth. Where it's like, I guess, you know, at the time they assumed they made this whole pyramid and they assumed people would know who it was for, you know, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, but this woman died 4,200 years ago.
Damn.
And
Yeah.
I mean, now we get to add her to the record of pharaohs, kings, and queens that we know about in ancient Egypt. And her namesake, Nilith or Nelith, was an Egyptian goddess of war and the patroness of the city of Salis. And she has been an important goddess from the pre-dynastic period of Egypt up through the arrival of the Romans. And it's said that during the creation of the world, she was the mother of Ra, the sun god. And some also credit her for being the mother of Sobek, who is the crocodile god. But she is often regarded as like a goddess of birth.
Huh.
So pretty important.
I would say so.
We're still finding out more and more about this queen, but I find it so inspiring that, you know, with something like this, we can watch our historical record change to become more accurate. And now, you know, people, I was talking to Joe about this, but people, I feel, or there's a common misconception of ancient Egypt as a monolithic time where everything was the same all the time and they were just walking around with their Rosetta Stones in the air. But, you know, there were these distinct periods, you know, people had these whole amazing lives that we don't know anything about. And within those 3,000 years, so much happened.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to begin to know all of the things that happened in those 3,000 years, probably for a lot longer.
Yeah, I feel like our body of knowledge of it is so small compared to what happened, you know, and finding this queen is putting another puzzle piece in our view of ancient Egypt.
That's really cool. All hail the queen.
All hail the queen. Welcome to the historical record.
Yes.
Oh my God. Welcome to people being aware of your existence. How does it feel?
Incredible. Just so incredible, I bet.
I hope so. I hope, you know, she's somewhere in the afterlife and she gets a ping on her like ancient Egyptian tablet that is like, your tomb has been found. She's like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah, finally.
My story's about to get told.
Well, that was awesome. Thank you for your bony discoveries.
Well, it's always my pleasure. It was nice to be on a little break, but I'm so happy to be back talking bones with you.
Yeah, me too. Very glad to be back. Very glad to be back in a routine and not just sick on my couch or in my bed.
I'm so happy you're feeling better.
Me too. So I guess we better go before Minnie throws a clot because she wants to play and go outside.
Well, there's only one more thing to say then.
Bon voyage.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Anything Bones. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Anything Bones Podcast, or email us at anythingbonespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you to Nick Kruger for our spooky music and Stephen Vetteroff
At Chubby Scrubby on Twitter,
for our jazzy vocals, and thank you to Camilla Franklin
at Camilla Strader on Instagram.
for our beautiful bony artwork. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Oh, I sent that picture that I took of Minnie to Joe, and he said, "Sweet miniature kiddature," in all capitals.
Oh, and she is. She really is. My virtual cat with her little crossed paws.
I know, she's such a little sweetheart. Kuno, I don't know if you can see him. He's like back there.
He's in the shadows.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see a little dog lump.
Kuno. He's like, you're ignoring me, mother. I'll ignore
Yeah,
you.
I am thoroughly sleeping.
Yeah, he is sleepy boy. All right.
I'm ready.
Sweet, as am I.